Mirror, mirror on the wall, is anyone in that theater hall? Oh, okay, well, I like to say I'm surprised, but not really.
Waiting on a wish, holding out for someday, hoping somehow, someway.
Hello everyone, if you're a new viewer, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. If this is your second, third, fourth time watching one of my videos and you are not yet subscribed, we already go together. Okay, make it official and hit that subscribe button. It's finally here. The live action Snow White movie is finally here. It's been 4 years since they announced that Snow White was actually going to be Snow Blanca. So many things have happened in the time it took them to release this movie, like Twitter became X. Will Smith slapped the shit out of Chris Rock at the Oscars. Aliens got confirmed and nobody cared. Squid Games happened and then happened again. Drake was murdered in a rap battle and the funeral lasted 10 months. A lot has happened. Okay, in the time it took them to put out this movie, a lot of time and money. According to Forbes, the budget for this movie is $270 million, making it one of the most expensive live-action remakes of all time.
If I'm gonna stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed.
This movie was even more expensive than Aladdin, whose budget was only $183 million. The Snow White movie should have never been more expensive than the Aladdin movie, but the reason it was is because all of the reshoots people didn't like that the 7 dwarves had been replaced with 6 regular-sized people and 1 dwarf.
Does it seem like a fun film? I want to see dwarfs.
They didn't like that the movie wasn't going to be about a princess being saved by a prince and falling in love.
She's not gonna be saved by the prince, and she's not gonna be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true.
I'm so bored. I want to kill myself.
They didn't like that the character had been race swapped, and they didn't like the actress who was playing the character.
And to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
A few moments later.
Disney is said to be so skittish about the reaction, they scaled back the usual lavish premieres.
This movie had a rough start, and while Disney should have cut their losses and walked away, like your grandma in the casino, they thought that if they just kept putting more money on the table, eventually it would pay off. And like your grandma, they're wrong. Instead, they doubled down, they canceled the premieres, and put the movie out.
Stupid.
This is definitely the biggest L that Disney has taken in the history of the company. But you guys, just look at this. Okay, look at the screenshot. This is a screenshot for the seat map at a landmark movie theater here in Canada. This is the 9:50 p.m. IMAX showing. Here is the legend. It says blue seats are available and gray seats are taken. Look at the seat map, guys. No one's in the theater. Here's the 4:40 p.m. showing. 8 seats have been sold. Here is the 7:15 p.m. showing. No tickets sold. And just to be fair, I chose an AMC theater in Houston, Texas because, you know, there's more Latinos there and I thought maybe, just maybe they would show up to support a fellow Latina, right? But nope. Bruh. And I saw comments on various videos that say the same thing. Here in Sweden, in my local theater, there are 11 shows over 5 days with 2,300 seats available and only 60 is booked. So I would dare to say that it is a fail. I checked my local theater and only 2 tickets have been sold for tomorrow's showing. Laugh my ass off. My family and I won't be watching Snow White and the 7 tickets sold. They expect this movie to make $50 million during the opening weekend, and it probably won't. This movie is going to be a colossal failure, and no one is surprised by this. Here are just some of the early reviews for the Snow White movie.
I am not exaggerating when I say Gal Gadot gives one of the worst performances you'll ever see in your life in Snow White. I just watched the movie, so here's my full thoughts on the best and worst parts of the film. Like I said, we have to start with Gal Gadot's acting as the evil queen in this movie, no matter how bad you think she's gonna be in this film, multiply it by 100 times and you'll still be undershooting it. Legitimately horrible. I was legitimately trying not to laugh at every word she says in this movie because it feels like she's in a parody film compared to everybody else, and don't even get me started on her couple songs she has in this. Oh my god, it's bad. And sadly, even when you're blessed enough to not be watching Gal Gadot on screen in this movie, you're probably going to be looking at these CGI dwarfs on the film. I can't believe Disney went through with this. It looks so unbelievably uncanny. I saw somebody compare the animation to like the Polar Express. It's so accurate. But don't you even worry about it. We do have an emotional arc for Dopey in this film. Now, to be clear, I don't like the original Snow White movie either, so I'm not mad that this film tried to expand on some character arcs and just expand on this world a little bit, but everything just feels so useless, like it's just unnecessarily padding the runtime to make it longer.
My mom always told me that if you have nothing nice to say, you should say nothing at all. So I just got back from watching Snow White, and all I gotta say is, nah, I said I'm sorry, Mama, because I'm gonna have to break that promise. I'm gonna try to be as nice as possible. I'm not seeking penance for what I've done, Father. I'm asking forgiveness for what I'm about to do to this movie. First and foremost, I'm pulling out the soups method. I want to congratulate everyone that worked on this film, because I genuinely don't know how you guys survived this production with Gal Gadot. Positive, Sammy. Positive. Let me cook. No, I really don't understand the amount of hate that Gal Gadot is getting in this role, because in my opinion, she deserves more hate, because Gal Gadot gets one of the worst performances, if not the worst performance I've ever seen in my life. No! For every bit as good Rachel Ziegler is, she's just as bad. 10 times. Then enough. The unseasoned chicken of acting.
What did you say?
Like, I just know the director was in on this. They're like, man, she looks so bad. We sending this in. I'm leaving here with some. Because you, like, have to be trying to be this generationally terrible. He made me believe that I could be an actor. Like a walk-on with a major in accounting. Think they can make it to the league. Nah, buddy, do my taxes. I'm gonna need to take a cold shower in the fetal position after this one. Dog, she gets a musical number in this movie. And I know what you're thinking. You probably wanted to peel your eyes off, stab your eardrums. And nah, this was like the one time when I could, like, bear to listen to her. Like, the one scene she had some direction. I'm lying, that shit was ass. But I'm not gonna hold you. Like,
Oh my god, bro.
she is bad, though. Like, you know. But if it wasn't for that, she'd be delivering my Uber Eats.
And I do appreciate that the movie tries to expand upon the original instead of just, being a shot-for-shot remake. However, that attempt at reinvention leads to the film running into conflicting terrain. It takes itself way too seriously at times while simultaneously trying to carve out its own identity, yet it still feels bogged down by the need to hit like requisite beats from the OG. It's a movie that doesn't flow well. It's clunky, tonally inconsistent, it's annoying at times, and it's visually uninspired. Speaking of visuals, none of it feels real. It just looks fake. Story-wise, the movie needed strong execution of world building, especially with the changes they attempted, but everything feels half-cooked and or hollow. Felt like it was like lacking in budget or something. The dwarves, a lot of people started laughing when they showed up because they just don't look good. They don't look good. I won't go as far as to say they were like unbearable portrayals or something. Dopey in particular had some genuinely enjoyable moments. I kind of felt like they didn't originally want them in this movie.
So those are some of the early reviews, and now I want to dive into some of the mistakes that Disney has made and the lessons that they should have learned by now. Let's start with the premise of a live action remake in general. The first time that I heard that Disney was going to be doing a live action remake of Beauty and the Beast, I was excited because as a child, this was one of my favorite Disney movies. I watched it over 100 times. I could probably still recite many of the lines from the movie, and I'm not ashamed of it. The music in that movie is timeless. Belle's gold dress is iconic, as well as Beast's outfit. I don't know if this qualifies as a tuxedo, so I'm gonna call it an outfit. But there's just so much that I loved about this movie. And when I was a kid, CGI wasn't as advanced as it is now. Like, just look at this 1995 Jumanji, okay? This movie still slaps. I still watch it, but just look at this, okay? This is what we had back in the 90s. Back then, the technology just wasn't there. So when I heard that they were going to be doing a live action remake of Beauty and the Beast, I was excited to see the movie that I loved as a child be retold to a new audience exactly the same, just in live action, but exactly the same. And I'm sure that most people who grew up loving that movie had the exact same expectation. And for the most part, that's what they did. They did make changes to the movie that I felt were unnecessary, but for the most part, the movie was true to the original. And as a result, the movie was successful. It made over $1.2 billion at the box office. Disney found a formula, and all they had to do was repeat it. Take a popular classic Disney cartoon, cast talented actors and actresses who look like the cartoon characters, do some CGI magic, and boom, $1 million. They had one job. But at some point, it seems that Disney decided that They're not in the business of making money. Rather than continue cashing in on nostalgia with its live-action remakes, it stripped away the very charm that fans loved by making excessive and often unnecessary changes, many of which felt more political than purposeful. For example, live-action Mulan. They got rid of the music, they got rid of Mushu, they gave Mulan superpowers, they got rid of Mulan's love interest, they added a second villain, which was a shape-shifting woman who ended up becoming an ally to Mulan because girl power. It literally wasn't even the same movie. If you are going to capitalize off of nostalgia, you don't do that by creating a new product and slapping the old name on it. Like, that's like saying you're gonna bring back Blockbuster to capitalize off of nostalgia, but instead of selling movies, you sell music. The second thing I want to talk about that affected the release of this movie is the main actress, Rachel Zegler.
You say to those who are just kind of overly critiquing the film at this point, you worked so hard on it. All right, congrats, Rachel.
Could I just say, they did her dirty with this hairstyle. She looks like Lord Farquaad from Shrek. But can we just be honest, okay? She was a very poor casting choice. Take away the fact that they did a race swap. We're going to completely ignore that. She doesn't embody the essence of Snow White. The original Snow White is very dainty, very feminine. She has plump cheeks, giving her a very soft appearance. And Rachel Zegler is the exact opposite. And that's not a diss to Rachel Zegler, it's just true. Casting Rachel Zegler to play Snow White is the equivalent of casting Kristen Stewart to play Barbie. It's just not believable. Acting can only compensate for so much, no matter how talented you are. If your physical appearance is too far in contrast with the character, it just won't be believable. That is why typecasting exists. Mads Mikkelsen plays a villain 99% of the time because he looks like one. And Rachel Zegler just doesn't have the demeanor, the physical appearance, nor the charm to convincingly play Snow White. And to be honest, she kind of looks like a mean girl. And while promoting the movie, she came across as one.
The difference in how the live-action Disney princesses talk about their characters is actually so telling. Watch these interview clips.
There's a big focus on her love story. With a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird.
There's so many beautiful qualities about her that we know and love already in the original. Her curiosity, her passion, her headstrongness, you know, her ability to not take no for an answer. I wanted to keep all those things as well as add some of me to it, especially like some of the nuances and riffs in the songs and just my personality as well. So I hope that shines through in this version.
I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again. Like, I'm being so serious. I watched it once and then I went on the ride in Disney World, which was called Snow White's Scary Adventures. Doesn't sound like something a little kid would like. Was terrified of it. Never revisited Snow White again. So I watched it for the first time in probably 16, 17 years when I was doing this film.
Obviously, every girl wants to be a princess. I mean, ever since you're a kid, and a Disney princess and Cinderella, it's kind of, if I say it, it's like too much to really even believe, even though we're halfway through filming and it's all happening. But so yeah, obviously that kind of idea of being a princess is just magical. And then on top of that, actually working on the film with Ken and with everyone, the essence of who she is, and that's like a dream role too.
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
It's so much about the human condition and what it is to be alive, what it is to give and receive love, what it is to see deeper than the external and the superficial. And I think in that sense, it's kind of one of the most soulful Disney movies I can think of.
Another thing that I think has killed this movie is the political climate that we're living in. Back in the day, celebrities weren't as involved in politics and world issues as they are now. I mean, of course, many of them were, but It wasn't expected of them. But now with the popularity of social media, many celebrities are expected to share their political views and comment on current events on a regular basis, and in some cases, doing this negatively impacts their careers, and we are kind of seeing that with this movie. Gal Gadot, who plays the villain in this movie, is an Israeli, and she used to be an IDF soldier, and she supports Israel's actions in Gaza. Rachel Zegler has openly supported Palestine, and there are rumors of a rift between the two ladies as a result of this.
Co-stars? Sure. Friends? Not even close. E.T. has learned there has definitely been tension between Snow White leading ladies Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler, and they're, quote, not close by any means. There were definitely some clues at the scaled-back No Reporters Allowed premiere. They posed separately, and Disney released just this one smiling pic that did its best to convey a message of no controversy here.
We fell in love at first sight.
Yeah. This is a major U-turn from when they first got the roles 3 years ago.
It was great, because Rachel is amazing.
So what's behind the rift?
People are assuming that Rachel and Gal did not get along because obviously Rachel has promoted Free Palestine. Gal obviously is Israeli and is Jewish and has spoken out on behalf of the hostages. So politically, it seems they're in opposition.
This controversy is not only dividing the two women, but also dividing the movie audience. I have seen hundreds of posts on Twitter of people who say that they will not watch this movie specifically because Gal Gadot is in it, and they don't want to support her because she supports Israel.
You stole it from him, from all of us. And now we're here to take it back.
So conservatives don't want to watch this movie because they're tired of woke ideology, and the libs don't want to watch this movie because Gal Gadot is in it. So there's no audience for this movie. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I would ask you if you guys plan on watching this movie, but I'm pretty sure the answer is nah.
Maybe you saw it. You probably didn't. Nobody did.
Anyways, if you like this video, please don't forget to hit the like button. If you are not yet subscribed, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. A special thanks to all of you guys who are supporting me on Patreon. If you too would like to financially support my channel, my link to Patreon will be in the description box down below. If you liked this video and you would like to see 2 more like it, I will have 2 more videos for you in the end cards. I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye.